Hello everyone, and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. We're a little bit crooked here. There we go. Well, welcome, and it's good to see all of you. I want to, first of all, today is Thursday, November the 20th, 2025, and I want to welcome all of you. If you are a newcomer, I hope you will stay and see what I am all about and possibly hit that subscribe button and come back again. To my returning viewers, thank you for hanging in there with me and coming back again week after week after week. I want to thank all of you. I have a lot of thanks to give this week because last week I wasn't here and I wasn't able to thank you for the previous week. 2 weeks ago, I had to say goodbye to my little co-host, and I want to thank everybody for all of your very, very kind words. I know that he will be missed by you as well as by me. And it's quieter here in this house without him, and I certainly do miss him. We had certain routines we did every day. So thank you all for your kind words and your prayers and your sympathies. I did appreciate them. And then last week, I wasn't here. I put in a very rough week last week. I had a bad cold, and you think, oh well, bad cold, big deal. But it was the weirdest bad cold I ever had, and it laid me low for a whole week. I am feeling better now, but I still have a little bit of the scratchy in the throat. As you can see, still a little bit of coughing. Not often, but it happens, of course, when I sit down to talk to you. So I just put out the very, very barest minimum of a 30-second video, if you want to call that a video, to let you know that I wouldn't be here. And again, all of you were very, very kind and wishing me well. And yes, I suppose you're wondering if I am better or not. This is the first time I've coughed in several days. So anyway, I just really want to thank everybody. And it just emphasized to me what I have really appreciated about having a video, and that is the community. This is a wonderful community, very supportive, and I do appreciate all your best wishes and your support of my channel. So we usually start with what I am wearing, and I just was a bit cool down here. As you know, it's always cool down here. And I just grabbed my very comfortable and cozy Agatha reading shawl. And some of you that are new may not be aware of it, and I will link it in the description box below. And by the way, any patterns that I happen to mention, or YouTubers, I will always link in the description box below this video. So this is the Agatha reading shawl done in a latte cake. I've worn it many times before, and I'm sure I'll wear it many times in the future, as it is so very comfortable. Now, we need to talk about what I have been doing. I certainly had a fair bit of time to sit and crochet because I didn't go out of the house for an entire week other than to run to the pharmacy. At one point, I finally decided I really needed to get something to help, and they don't deliver unless you have a prescription, which I didn't have, so I had to run over to the pharmacy and get some cough medicine and things to help, because um, I was really feeling pretty rough for a few days there. And in fact, that's the other thing that happened as a result of being sick, is that I was supposed to do a craft show on the weekend in Sarnia, and I wasn't up to doing it. So I had to forfeit my table and not go. There was no way. I needed to be among people. I might have got more sick, more worn out, and I might have spread my germs. And I didn't have the energy to do it. And I'm still, although I feel better, I still tire very easily. So you may see that I cut this video a bit short. I'm feeling kind of, I don't know, the best word I guess I can think of is discombobulated, because not having done one for a couple of weeks, I'm kind of, where am I and what should I be doing today? But I have some things here around me, so hopefully I will get done the things I had planned to do. I do remember that I showed you an Advent calendar that I received the last time I was online, and that was a mistake. It wasn't the one I thought it was, and I think it's because I'm not used to talking. Home alone for a week, you don't talk much. That Advent that I was showing you is going to wait until next July. I'm still waiting on one other, and if I don't get it by tomorrow, I'm going to be calling and asking where it is. I don't mean it has to be here tomorrow, but I should be getting notification that it's in the mail by now. And I haven't heard anything, so I will be checking with them. All right, so let's talk about what I have been doing in the past 2 weeks. First of all, I did a little bit. I was working on my blankets. Remember, I had started to, and one is not crucial that I get done right away, and that's my Christmas blanket. It's for me, and if I do it after Christmas, that's fine. I didn't bring it down to show you today. I'll show you that one next week. I'll alternate between the two blankets. But I did some work. I was quite pleased at the amount of work I did. Where? Oh, there it is. On the one for my niece. There's the yarn. I'm using a number 9 furls hook. And I'll just put that over here. And since I last showed it to you, I did one whole ball and another. I started this one I just showed you. So it is getting a good size. Hard for you to tell how big it is. If I can get it up to the bottom there. And then you can see I tend to do the ends as I go, but you can see there's where I started a new ball there and a new ball there. So there's one ball. There's a second ball. That seems like this would be a whole ball up here, but it isn't. Might have had a bad spot. I think I had to cut something that because here's where I started the third ball. So I think there was something I had to cut in one of the balls. So I've done that much into the third ball. Okay, so it's a good width, and it's already a decent length, and knowing that I have this ball and another ball, it's going to be a good length. I think I'm going to be happy with it. So I am making progress, and I managed to do almost a whole ball in one evening. So later this week, I will probably sit and do one evening and finish that ball. And then I still will have about 4 weeks. So one week I'll pick another evening and sit and work on the last ball. And I'll have it done, no problem. I probably have the Christmas one done as well, because I did do another ball and I am on the no, I'm on the second ball. That one only has 3, but they are longer, bigger balls. All right, another thing I am working on, of course, is our dice game. And there's my hook. And since you last saw me, I would have done this green. And then last week, I was able to roll. I was capable of rolling the dice. I at least could do that much. And I had a few of you thank me for thinking of that and doing it so you could be working on it this last week. And there is the next roll that I did. And finally, we got to color 6. And you should be finding it doing this on one side. Now, if you did it in the proper place like you were supposed to according to the pattern, yours would have started back earlier and you would be farther across. And we are up to, as of last week, 77 rows, and I believe the original pattern has 94, if I am correct. So another 2 rolls, 77, so that's 17 more. Yeah, 2 more rolls would likely finish it for you. But as you can see, because I did more than I should have, I still have a fair amount to go until this closes in. So I'm going to be working on it into December. And as long as I am working on it, I'm going to roll the dice for 2 reasons. First of all, some of you may have done the same thing I did and didn't change direction, start decreasing when you should have. You might have been following me and you need to keep going like I need to keep going. Also, I know some of you chose to do another pattern. And if your pattern is longer, has more rows, then you can keep going with my rolls of the dice. So I'm assuming, yes, there are 17 more to the original pattern, but I put in 12 extra rows, which means another 12 coming back, so 24. So I probably have 41 more rows to go. I think I counted it, and it's the number of stitches here, and that might be at 40 something to finish this. So we're going to keep rolling until I'm done and see what happens. So this is how it's looking. I'm mostly pink and green. There hasn't been a lot of this color. I wouldn't mind some more gray coming in here with all of this pink and green. But we'll see what we roll. We cannot roll this color again, which was color 6. We can't roll it this week. So I'm going to put this down and I'm going to roll the dice again. I don't know what that is. So let's see what we get this time. For those of you that have been keeping track with me, are you enjoying it? Are you happy with the colors you're getting? Okay, so this time we're getting color 1 for 8 rolls. Let me write this down and then I'll go and check for color 1. Color 1, today's November the 20th. Color 1 for 8 rows, which takes us up to 85 rows. Only 9 more for those that are following it properly. So color 1. I think color 1 might just be either the gray or the brown. Let me start with the gray. I hope it is the gray. I would like to put more of it in there. Yes, color 1 is the gray. So we're going to get a little more of it in there. That's good. I'm glad to see that. So 8 rows, that's not terrible. I will go up and work on that tonight. 8 rows of that color. So that's good to get one of those colors in there. So I'm going to put that aside to take upstairs with me when I go. I'm seeing that I have gotten behind in my ends, so I'll be doing that as well. Put that there. Take that with me. Okay. Now, I did work on another item besides the little bit I had to do on that and my 2 blankets. I also have worked on my butterfly mal. Now, generally, I don't show it during the month. I show it at the end. I am going to show it to you. I'm not going to do a lot of discussion about it because that'll all happen at the end of the month. But I got to the end. Remember that brown yarn? This pattern is called Vintage Modern, if that makes any sense. And I had to do an alteration, but again, I won't talk about that now. I just got it off the blocking boards this morning, and I am quite happy with the way it looks. I don't even remember the designer's name. I will tell you all that information next week. But there it is, my butterfly mal. I certainly had enough time to sit and work on that last week. So I will put a link to the design in Ravelry down below. And we will talk more about that next week. And I have been getting your submissions. And you have 1 more week to get your submissions to me. They are due to me by next Thursday, which is November the 27th, because we will be having the slideshow on November the 30th, which happens to be that's following Sunday. So yeah, there's just 10 days left in this month. It'll be over before we know it. I thought it had only just started, and here it is almost over. So next Thursday is the deadline for getting your pictures to me. For those of you that are new, my email is in the description box below. And when you send me a picture of your finished item using the browns, and people use browns, orange, and the creamy color, and it's predominantly those are the colors that show. And when you send it to me, I have to have your name, where you're located. If you use the pattern, we want the pattern name and designer's name, because often people make items that are new to the rest of us, we've never seen before, and we really like what we see, and we think, oh, I wouldn't mind making that. So we need to know the information. Now, a lot of you do your own thing, and that's fine. You just need to say no pattern, or it's my own design, or I just winged it kind of thing. And that's great too. A lot of you do that. And I really appreciate that a lot of you can do that. And that's really great. And it's interesting to see what you come up with. So that's what I've been working on. Both blankets, a little bit of our dice game, which is called the Achilles. And I will link that down below. And I will add in the numbers to our list. And of course, I worked on my butterfly mouse. So I worked on a fair bit and got a fair amount done, because all I could do was sit here in the house feeling miserable. Anyway, Today I want to do something that I had planned to do last week, and that was I wanted to do another book review. I still haven't gotten to the point where I have a designer focus to do. I have seen some patterns I really like that I want to do, and if I'm happy with the pattern, I will be contacting the designers and seeing if they would be interested in my doing a focus. But sometimes, sometimes I don't hear from them, and then I have to start all over again. That's what happened in the past. So anyway, I want to do a book review, and I picked this one on purpose because I have several other pattern books. I got a new one just recently, and I got several I want to do with you over time. But I just felt called to do this one, which is a ripple. I call them ripples. A lot of people call them chevrons. I don't see the difference. I don't know where the name chevron came from. But I've been doing ripples for, I don't know, 30, 35, maybe 40 years. And I still call them ripples. The reason I chose this book is because, first of all, ripples are very, very popular. And second of all, this seems to me like the season when people want to do blankets. And I'm actually going to do another blanket I'm going to talk to you about a little bit later from this book. But when I looked through this book, I found some very interesting things that I really wanted to share with you. These are some of the patterns in the book I would like to do. But I thought you should see the variety you get with ripples. So I'm going to go through and quickly show you the various ripple patterns in here. The one thing I really like about this, and it has all kinds of, the usual thing at the beginning, materials and stitching techniques and on, and it describes doubles and trebles and all the rest of it, embellishments that you can put on. But anyway, ripple designs, and according to the book, there are 100 of them. I don't know if there were 100, but I guess. But I want you to see how different, how varied a ripple can look. And here's the first thing I really, really like about this book. Has charts. Every single pattern has a chart. And I see the pattern much, much easier when I have a chart to follow. So here's what they call the rainbow granny. So it's done with what looks like the granny stitch going up and down. And that's a pretty basic one. Probably a lot of you have done that. But now look at this one. It's called Bright Waves. Very different, I think, than a lot of grannies you may have done in the past. It's not really what a true ripple, the pattern that a true ripple follows. I'm going to go, this one's called Hill and Valley. And look at that. It actually has more of a flat portion at the bottom to look more like a valley. You'll be surprised at the variations we see here. This one's called Butterfly, and I think it's because it just kind of looks like butterfly wings. And maybe you'll find this boring, I don't know. This one is interesting. It's called Flames. It seems to go up quite a bit. It doesn't look like it goes down, but look at the extra it has on the tops, although it's very, very narrow at the bottom of it. It's if you look at the actual diagram, you'll see it's a very, very unique construction, not like most. Now, I'm not going to say this, it's French, but a very basic ripple, and it's done with half doubles. And that's one I'm looking at doing eventually. Here's another one called Rainbow Road, and I'm going to try and start going faster. Now here, Venice, look at that. You can see the holes in the valleys, actually in the hills too. Now here's another one, Vibrant VS. This doesn't look quite like a chevron or a ripple. Next one is called Compact Chevrons. Now this is done with single crochets, and it doesn't go up and down. It's much shorter. Next one is called Ice Cream Sundae. Part of that is because of the color, but again, a more basic ripple. But did you know that a ripple can be used in other ways? And here is a star, and that is a ripple pattern. It just happens to be going in the round. And I almost showed you the diagram, didn't I? And here is a ripple. You might use these as coasters, I guess, but it is put into basically a square. Looks like a snowflake to me. Here are a couple of others. I bet you never really thought you were doing a ripple when you did something like that. But a person could take this and build on. People like to make big blankets in these shapes. Or you could leave the center out and be thinking about a tree skirt. Here's another one. Looks more like a star. It's called Jasmine. Maybe because of the color. But that's a very, very unusual shape. And it is more like a star than a ripple. But you're using the basics of a ripple pattern. Next is called Fall Leaves, probably because the colors they used. But again, a different construction. Similar to your granny squares, but they aren't quite the same. And here's something called Honeydew. You see the difference, the variety in all of these? And this one is called Pink Denim. The colors do make a difference too, but if you sat and looked at the diagram for each of these, you'd see a very different construction. Now here is another very different one. It's not as noticeable there as it is here, but I got to cover the, see how they've done a small and then a big one, and a small one and then a big one. Very different. Adds a little different dimension to the pattern, makes it a little unique. Now this one has done small peaks. Your big one and then a little one, big one, and then you'll do another little one. Very, very interesting how you can alter your pattern. This one's called, this. Now they made a pillow out of it. You don't always have to make a blanket. This one's called San Francisco. Now here's a very unusual stitch that most probably haven't done in their ripple, and it's called Berry Ripple. And see, they've done, it's sort of like a puff. They've done basically your granny clusters in one row, and the next row they've done long stitches to surround it. Makes it look like a puff, but it really isn't a puff. But a very unique look to the overall pattern. And here's one where they've put a cluster at the points. Now, here's a different variety or change of your chevron. And this is called Pastel Posy. I think a number of you are going to like that. See the look? It looks like a flower. Now this one is going a little more in the round than those others that were sort of star-shaped. Quite interesting variation. And if you could see this pattern, they cross over each other. Oh, another variation. Look at that. Now that definitely has puffs in it in certain rows. It's called Pumpkin Patch. And then we get purple picos. So this one has picos on it. Red, white, and blue for our American friends. And again, you wouldn't have to do red, white, and blue, but it looks like a bit of a puff. They aren't, though. I think those are clusters. Another alteration to the original patterns. Getting near the end here. I like how this looks more like a dip rather than straight, pointy. It's not pointy at the bottom. Shell ripple. Now this is an interesting variation. See the different rows they put in it here? You got your ripple here, but some variation up there to make it look like shells. A bobble zigzag. Now they've made a purse out of it. Maybe you haven't thought of making a purse out of it. And there's another small one, a change purse kind of thing called Jitterbug. Aspen, another, see, they don't do every row the same. We're used to doing ripples where once you learn the basic pattern, every row is the same, but that one isn't. And this one has posts in it. See the posts? Well, that's different too. I've never seen one with posts. And these are more like we got hills here, but we got more valleys here. See, it depends on each row is a little bit different. Again, another modification. Oh, and if you're into flowers, you could make a garden. That one's called confetti. They look more like flowers to me. And another star idea that's called kaleidoscope. Some of you might really like those varying shapes. And this one has, again, different stitches in different rows. We're getting almost to the end. Now here's something very different. Makes like a butterfly. It's called Ocean Swell. Looks like butterflies in the actual hill. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. Now we can put them together in another way. They call this Orion's belt. That might make for like a doily or even a centerpiece on a table. And strawberry mint. Now, does this look like tulips? Again, another variation on your pattern. And we got two more. One is this Ferris wheel. And it looks like a flower to me. And then we got this really big one called Retro Rose. There it is done in large. There it is close up on the center. Very large blanket. So that just shows, oh no, there are a couple more here. Oh, look at this. Buttons, it's called. Looks like buttons in the valleys. Very interesting. And look at this with the ruffle idea. Seafoam, it's called. And mountain streams, I don't see. Okay, it is different. Yeah, each row is different. I really like this next one. I think this is very unique. Look at that. Yeah. Looks like they've done chains and sewed them in there, and maybe that's, and then we have Sea of Hearts, and we're at the end. So this is 100 colorful ripple stitches, quite a variety of things you can do with a ripple. And the I don't know that she's a designer of all of these. She has put the book together, Leonie Morgan. And I've had this book for quite a while. I believe it can be found in Amazon. I think it was hard in Canada to find it, but you definitely could find it in the US. It might be under, you know how they have extra other suppliers to buy it from, and their used bookstores. Also, I believe this was on the UK, Amazon.uk site. So you might want to check some other site. It was printed in, it just says Facebook. Oh, it's in New York, St. Martin's, Griffin. Anyway, I thought this was very interesting, and I am going to pick one of the patterns, and I think it's this. I wanted to pick one that was very straightforward and wouldn't use a lot of yarn, and now I'm not sure which one it was, because as you know, I'm going to do a blanket with my, remember my Halloween advent? And I'm going to put the silver gray in it. And I thought I would choose a ripple. It doesn't have to be real wide or real large. And I don't think that was, well, maybe that is the one I'm going to do. It's very, very basic, possibly, but I am going to choose a ripple and do that. Now, I won't probably get started until the new year because I have these other blankets on the go for getting done before the end of the year. But it is my plan to choose this. It's just one more advent, and I don't want to add more advents to my pile of yarn. I want to start using them, and I thought if I pick a pattern out of here right away, and as soon as we get through the Christmas season, I put it on the hook, that maybe I stand a chance of getting it done. As I said, I'm going to do a variety of blankets that I'm going to drape on my chair back here. So I'm hoping to get my Christmas ones done so I can put it on the chair at least for 1 week in December. Then I'm going to work on this one that's on the board down here, and it's going to be a fall Halloween-y one. Why I'm doing it first, I'd be better off starting with a winter one, but I just have it here and I want to do it and move it along, get it out of the way, and then I will go into my minis and look around for another group of minis to make some particular blanket. As you know, I am working on a blanket with my minis from 2 years ago, and maybe I should push myself to finish that one first. It's all sparkles, and it would be great for early in the year. I am going to work on it in December when I finish the other things that I have on the hook to get done before Christmas. So I think it would be a good idea if I called it here. Next week is kind of going to be the end of November and the end of regular podcasts, because then we'll be in December. And December, I am definitely going to do, once again, like last year, I'm going to do the 12 days of Christmas. Now we have a slideshow on the 30th of November, which is a Sunday, and then I'll be starting on Tuesday with the 12 Days of Christmas, December the 2nd, and I'll come to you on all the even days, the 2nd, the 4th, and so on up till the 24th of December. And then we'll have Christmas, and I'll do one more regular in the holiday period between Christmas and New Year. So we aren't going to be having regular ones. When I do Christmas when I do my 12 Days of Christmas, because I'm doing 12 of them, they will be much shorter. And each day I'll be showing you the ones I'm opening, and maybe a few minutes showing what progress I'm making on the things that I'm working on. So they will all be shorter videos. So we only have one more regular one next week. And at that time, I think what I want to do is talk to you about Advent projects. I have bundles, 2 bundles of Advent projects, and I thought I might pick out several and show them to you next week. And then during Advent, maybe I'll pick one knit and one crochet each day as we go through Advent. I'm not too sure, but I think that's something I would like to do, just to give you a sampling of what is available to use your Advent minis for. Now, some of the patterns I picked out weren't meant for Advents, they were meant for scraps, but Advents. And if you don't have Advents, that's fine. Use your scraps. They work kind of interchangeably. So I think next week I'm going to talk about Advents, and I think I have a bit of yarn here to talk about as well. So that'll be next week. But I think it's wise this week if I cut it just a wee bit short. And hopefully next week I'll be on the top of my game again, and I'll be able to do my usual length. So I'm going to say goodbye at this point, and I hope you'll be back next week to see the progress I make on the projects I'm working on. And until then, happy hooking.